I think I fixed it. My network just needed a reset. It gets like that. I have a good network equipment. Even though it's not the most expensive and runs the fastest speeds, it's still really good network equipment. Not what I used to have, but it's still good. Still really, really good. But my modem is quite old. It's like 5 or 6 years old. So every once in a while, I just need to power cycle it. And I had a feeling that's what the issue was. So we're going to continue on. Because I wasn't done.
They don't care if they kill you or your family or your parents or your kids with their suicidal, narcissistic, pathological empathy. They will sign you up to be terrorized, brutalized, and murdered by an illegal immigrant to satisfy their pathological, narcissistic empathy. That's what they'll do. That's exactly what they will do. You need to Old Testament these people. Throw the book at them, and then go even farther than that.
Ruiz is slipping
That's what I
out
would
the
do.
back door. You're looking.
I'm so mad. Like, in my opinion, Karen logic. Yes, exactly. It's Karen logic.
It is
Why
legit.
not just put them in solitary confinement permanently?
There you
just
go.
do that. Why not?
At the actual footage for those of you who have any questions. Now, I have to pause.
And you have to be cruel.
Yeah.
You have to be cruel.
You have to.
And if you don't, they'll do it to you. Because they're the ones that are truly cruel. They're the ones that will ruin society so they can feel good about themselves. That's right.
It right here for 1 second, because you see this guy right here? Well, he's a federal agent, and he
give them
just
what they
stood
give
by
us.
the
Yes. Say
courtroom
strict,
just
not cruel.
in case some funny business happened. And now Ruiz is walking past him.
I hate this stuff
to
so
leave
much.
the courthouse. And what does he do? Well, he follows Ruiz. Now Ruiz leaves the building, but ICE agents are outside, and he is arrested.
Gotcha,
Good.
bitch.
Fucking
So the
good.
FBI and the Department of Justice
They just
looked
ran
at
his
the
ass
video
down.
we just saw and said, hey, this judge has committed a crime, and we're going to arrest her. Here is NBC explaining it.
Federal authorities reportedly
Yeah,
arrested.
exactly. Do you think that's why we have so many weak men? They never think that. They never think about being that way, so we don't know how to deal with it when it's on our doorstep. We have to learn how to be brave again. I think that people have been defeated by peace, and they've been defeated by a degree of safety that is so, like, we have more safety in our lives now than anybody has ever had in the history of time.
Yep.
Things are
And
so
we've sacrificed
safe and
so
everything
much
is so
stupid
okay
shit for it, too.
that people can't even comprehend the idea of violence happening or bad things happening. That's what it is. The West is domestic. Yes, we've been domesticated, exactly. And so whenever we deal with people that are, you know, not domesticated, right, violent criminals, people assume that there's like a broader reason for it. They try to come up with extra examples for it, or like, oh, why it's like not their fault. That's what happens.
That toxic empathy.
There are illegal boat immigrants by blowing up the boats instead of letting them onto the shore. Well, they're going to do that. That's where things are going. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen yet, but very clearly there are so many people in Europe that are becoming radicalized that eventually the policy for the government will be to blow up the boats and sink the boats. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
It will be.
Because
they can't
in less than 10 years.
They can't deal. They won't be able to deal with this massive influx of people.
Judge this morning for
and it would have never happened if they had just treated it with the degree, like, it would have never gotten to this point if they didn't treat it like being mad at these migrants coming over and living off of your fucking country is racism. This would have never happened.
Yeah.
Assisting an undocumented migrant. In a since-deleted tweet from FBI Director Kash Patel, he said this judge was arrested on charges of obstruction related to an immigration arrest.
That's right. So Judge Hannah Dugan is the person who's been arrested here, facing 2 counts. The court paperwork was just unsealed: obstructing or impeding a proceeding before a department or agency of the United States and concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest, at least according to the information that the federal prosecutors and the FBI has alleged here in the course of their investigation. She moved this individual who's wanted by ICE, for which there was an active and a arrest warrant for, to be removed from the United States, moved him through the jury door, allowing him to effectively evade ICE agents. This individual was facing criminal charges, 3 misdemeanor counts related to physical assault. And so that's why they were in the courthouse.
Go Chuhey, man.
Now, a federal grand jury indicted the judge on those 2 counts.
Go Chuhey,
The judge
not my
pleaded
shoes.
not guilty to those charges, but said she was immune from prosecution because she was acting in an official capacity as a judge.
Wisconsin
Bullshit.
got away.
Judge has pleaded not guilty to federal charges related to her allegedly helping a man evade immigration authorities. Hannah Dugan was indicted this week on charges of obstruction and concealing an individual to prevent arrest. Dugan's attorneys are moving to have the case dismissed, arguing her actions were in her official capacity as a judge
Bullshit.
and that she has immunity from criminal prosecution, citing
It is not in your official capacity as a judge to aid a fugitive from being arrested. Your capacity as a judge is to pass judgment on a verdict raised based on evidence in court. It's not to send away ICE agents, then postpone the guy's hearing for the violent crimes he's convicted of, or not the crimes he's charged with, and then aid him in escaping the courthouse. That's not your judge capacity. You, as a matter of fact, your judge capacity was null and void the moment you approached those ICE agents and told them to go see your chief judge. In my opinion, your whole position got nulled out the moment you approached those ICE agents. You had no right to approach those ICE agents. They weren't interrupting your court session. They weren't in your courtroom impeding your hearing. They were doing their job, as from what I saw, being very respectable. Because I'm pretty sure they just sat out where the one guy was sitting was probably right outside the doors of the courtroom in which that hearing was taking place. No. Don't you do that. No. Hank. No. Don't do that. Don't you give me no evil eyes. You little Damon bunny. No, we're not going to do that. I have to put down a mat. I'll put down a mat where you won't be able to get under there to do anything other than play with your curtain. That's it. I'm being generous in giving you the curtains to play with. Sounded like he growled at me. Telling him off. Cracks me the hell up.
that 2024 Supreme Court decision in President Trump's favor.
So now, to make a long story short, the judge's motion was denied. She did not have immunity like the president.
Oh, wow. Too bad, huh?
The United States. 'Cause she wasn't the president.
The photo
That
is
bitch
funny
needs
as fuck,
jail
though.
time? Absolutely, she does. Absolutely.
Hell yeah, she deserves
We need
jail
to punish
time.
people for claiming not guilty whenever they're shown to be guilty. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's a court proceeding, right?
It's kind of a
He's
moot
just
thing,
a judge.
though.
So she went to trial, and the jury didn't buy.
The plead is pretty much what you feel that you're pleading. I plead that I'm not guilty because of this. I plead that I'm guilty because of this. I plead no contest. Like, whatever the person's pleading is kind of like how they feel. It doesn't mean shit. Yeah, okay, you feel you're not guilty. We'll see about that. And that's what it is.
The whole, hey, I'm a judge and I can do
Yeah.
whatever I want. They convicted her on the
Just
felony.
look at her. Oswald Cobblepot's mom. We fucking the mother of the penguin out here fucking doing Gotham City wrong.
count. But they
Man, you love to see it.
did acquit her on a misdemeanor, which is kind of not really great for the judge because you'd rather be convicted of the misdemeanor and not the
Yeah.
felony, but they convicted
Yeah.
her of the felony.
I'd say
Good.
the felony's usually worse.
Yeah.
Well, good evening. Welcome into our CBS.
Yeah, it's
15
always worse to be
studios, and we
charged with a
start tonight
federal
with
crime.
Breaking news on the verdict in the trial of Judge Hannah Dugan.
Judge Dugan was accused of trying to hide an undocumented immigrant from immigrations and customs enforcement agents in the Milwaukee courthouse.
Yeah, that happened in April of this year, bringing national attention to Milwaukee amidst heightened tensions over immigration enforcement in the United States. It spurred questions over whether immigration enforcement agents
Stand in the way,
should be
get
able
put in
to
jail.
arrest people in courthouses.
Easy.
They absolutely should be able to. Why would, and here's the question, right? If somebody's not even supposed to be in the country, why are we wasting time with our legal system sending them through this entire process when they're not even supposed to be here? That's stupid. The first
The fact that once that dude got arrested and sent to that courthouse for even that hearing, that judge should have done her judicial duties as a United States judicial official. She should have called ICE herself. She should have called ICE herself. She can see his fucking file. She has access to almost every bit of his file. It's not like the dude's file was sealed. He's not a minor. He's not some high-level criminal. No, he's a standard, what ICE is looking for, criminal. So she could see his entire file. She can see that he is an illegal immigrant. She knew he was an illegal immigrant. Again, she knew all of this going into it. She knew exactly what she's doing. So she wholeheartedly should be charged with the federal crime. And she's lucky. She'll be lucky if that federal crime charge sticks and she goes to jail for that. Because if the federal crime doesn't convict her of that, then the state sure as shit better.
First thing we should do is it should say, are you supposed to be here or not? And if you're not supposed to be here, then you get kicked out. It's stupid. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of time. Yeah. And this is what happens, right? Is that this is the reason why we have such a massive problem with dealing with these migrants and these illegal aliens. The reason why is because basically what the government did prior to Trump is that they just let these people come in mass, right? And so they created a problem that if you applied every rule inside of the system to give these people due process, this would be effectively impossible to do. That's why they're complaining about due process, is that they ignore due process to let these people come in mass, but then they want to have due process to have them removed. And this is a tactical decision that they're doing and a tactical thing that they're advocating for, because this is something that is meant to basically grind everything to a halt by just adding in so many processes and so many levels of obfuscation that you can never actually solve the problem. Due process for citizens, not illegals. I don't think we should give illegals due process either. I think we should just send them out or send them to work camps. That's it. If they're not supposed to be here, they should be happy if they're getting sent back to their own country. And by the way, that's the way a lot of other countries do it right now anyway. So like whenever I'm advocating for this and people think that I'm being extreme, that's not extreme at all. Many countries in the world do this right now.
Sorry, dude.
Horrible
It's a
take. It's
video.
not. Somebody shouldn't be here if they're illegal.
He's over here
It's that simple.
licking on his feet.
What are they doing here if they're illegal? Isn't due process to find out whether they're here illegally? Well, I mean, if they do find
love
that
that little
out, yeah,
guy.
of course. I mean, like, what I'm
He's
saying is that
such
due
a
process is not the same
sweetheart.
for everybody, right? Like, the process to remove an illegal is different than the process to put somebody who's, like, a murderer in jail, right? So, very clearly, you should apply the process for the situation at hand. But these people want to create infinite levels of processes because they want to protect these people from being removed from the country. These people don't actually care about due process. They only care about the process being used as a tool to make it harder for their opponents to achieve their goal. That's it. They don't actually care about due process.
Let's get to that verdict. On the felony count, the jury decided Dugan is guilty of
Bureaucratic
obstructing
stalling?
a
They are.
federal agency. On count 2, a misdemeanor, the jury decided the judge is not guilty of concealing someone to prevent arrest.
So yeah, so this
Somebody says, is there a specific reason why it made you care as much about illegal immigration? I feel like most people don't care either way. The reason why, I see a lot of the second order effects that illegal immigration has. Like, for example, fraud, crime. You have, school systems, emergency systems that are effectively also like overwhelmed by the amount of people that are in the system, right? Like, you go to an emergency room, there's a bunch of people that can't speak English there. Probably a lot of them are illegal. Like, I know it's not politically correct to say, but we all know this is true. And so anyway, there's that. There's, you go to the DMV, you have the same relative problems, right? And you have the housing issues as well. And then also, like, I live in Austin, Texas, and I've seen the effects that mass illegal migration has had on Austin, Texas. And it's been bad. It's been bad. Like, and I know how it is because I've seen it happen. And so,
And that's what I was saying earlier about the neighborhood and where I live. Like Columbus, yes, Columbus, Ohio is a big city, but the immigrant population isn't being put through the entire city. They're not spread out through the entire city. They're getting isolated and focused to specific parts of the city. The west side of the city being one, and I'm talking from Georgesville Road, and that's not just Georgesville and Broad Street and toward Galloway and West Jeff. No, this is Georgesville crossing Georgesville becoming Philippi, and that continuing up to basically Dublin, and then basically kind of going from Dublin over and encompassing Hilliard. And it's all of that. All of that is Hispanic population, some Indian population. The ones that are more successful get to choose areas like the more wealthier parts of Dublin, Upper Arlington, places like that, and more getting more north of that. As you get more north and toward the northern parts of Columbus, then that's when you start seeing more Indian population. As a matter of fact, if you go from Dublin all the way over to Blacklick, Gahanna, Galena, all of that north, that is pretty much, they've been developing that for Indian families. And these are Hindu families, not Indian Native American families. These are Hindu families. And I know this for a fact because I delivered Amazon packages in those areas. I've delivered Amazon packages in the entirety of Columbus, Ohio. So I can tell you exactly where the areas of focus of immigration happen in Columbus. I can kind of tell you some of it in Cincinnati, but it's like, it's pretty much Mason, Ohio is the the Hindu focus, where that's Procter and Gamble. Like, that's one of their headquarters is in Mason, Ohio. And that's where a lot of Indian Hindu focus is in Mason, Ohio. But here in Columbus, it's more northern Columbus, Dublin, all the way over to Blacklick and upward toward and probably past Galena. And we're talking like Polaris area, Polaris and past Polaris. And Polaris is Columbus, but it's not Columbus. It's like the most northern part of Columbus before you leave Columbus and start heading toward Cleveland and Sandusky and all that stuff north. Because that's pretty much what stretches out there. If you take 71 north, you can pretty much run into all of that. You see the barrier change. You'll see the barrier change as you take 71 north in Columbus, Ohio. You'll pretty much see a barrier change of populace. You'll go from essentially seeing more mixture of population to seeing a lot of predominance in population. And that's, like I said, that's that northern part of Columbus, out here west toward West Jeff, and even a little bit inward. The Somali population has kind of been shifted around and moved around because a large part of it used to be in the bottoms off McDowell and McDowell and Grant. I think that's what that is. Yeah, I think it's McDowell and Grant. Or no, Grant goes this way. Grant's east and west, or north south. In the bottoms, there's a road. The town street's on one side. Rich Street. And just think about the bridge. Rich Street is Rich and McDowell. There used to be a bunch of apartment buildings in the bottoms. And this is before gentrification hit that area massive, with all the influx of hipster shit. Before all that, a large portion of Columbus's Somali population lived there in those apartments. Then when the gentrification hit the bottoms and all the hipsters started buying up, or not the hipsters, essentially the real estate thieves and criminals started coming in, buying up everybody's property for pennies on the dollar, redeveloping the area, and essentially doing this whole try to buy it up for cheap and move everybody out quick so we can redevelop this whole area and sell it back, rent it back to hipsters, college student folk, the type of people that only are around an area for 1 or 2 years and then they move to somewhere else. 1 or 2 years, move to somewhere else. So it's the college crowd type people. Because I mean, Ohio State isn't that far. I mean, it's probably about 10, 15 minutes with all the traffic that goes on down in that area, but it's still close enough to all of the main OSU area stuff, the hospital. It's still close enough to that area to where it's appealing to the right crowd. It's appealing to the right crowd, which is why the bottoms hasn't changed. It's just got a different face. Nothing's changed about it. It's just a different face. I'm not gonna say it's worse off than it was. I mean, I will say I would take the hipster shit over the drug shit and the gang shit and the violent shit. I'll take that over it. But what it also does at the same time, and the reason why I don't like it and I disagree with it, is because it brings in a false perception of that area. It it brings in this perception of, oh, this is a good area, this is a really good area, when it's really not. It's only a good area if you stay in your home and you go to do your objectives and you go back home. When you start walking around that area, unless you have an objective, like going to one of the bars that they've thrown up there, or some type of event that's going on in the area, unless you have an objective, you don't want to really be walking around in that area. And no matter what kind of gentrification they do to the area, they won't make it any better than what it is now. Now is the top of where it will be. Unless everybody in the bottoms just drops dead instantly, then their gentrification projects won't actually be as successful as they would like to think they are, because it's just not going to work. The bottoms isn't one of those places that, like, they've moved out any longevity that could exist in the bottoms. They've already moved it out. They've moved it out, and now they're charging $1,500 a month to live there. The bottoms will never be better than it is currently. And it's not bad. It's the false perception of growth in a neighborhood, because they didn't really do anything. All they did was they stole a bunch of people's homes and they moved a bunch of people out. And they didn't move them out to something better. No, they moved them to another neighborhood that was already really struggling and made it even worse. So the project that they like to say is a great success in the bottoms, it's not. It's not a great success, and it's actually and it's kind of an embarrassment of all of it. Because what they're saying is the people's lives that existed there before don't mean shit to the money we're about to make in the future. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been trying to get people to sell their homes for the chump change that they were trying to get people to sell them for. That's above our asking price, but what are you plan? What are the plans for this area? I want paid in comparison to what you think you're about to make on this area. That's why I say they stole all those homes from those people. They stole everybody's homes. And it's because of the fact that they knew that they were planning on going in, doing a landlord special on 90% of these homes, and then re-renting them back out for $1,500 a month. $1,500 up. Because some of those places are over $2,000 a month. They didn't do anything. Like I said, they landlord specialed everything. They just did it with more money. Like the landlord special in that capacity happens because the landlord doesn't have a lot of money and wants to keep a hold of it. This landlord special is, we have a lot of money, but we're only going to spend it on the things that really don't matter. Like, we're going to put up fresh coats of paint. We're going to put in a 2 cent per 1,000 square foot fake wood flooring, a bunch of knockoff crappy quality cabinets and appliances, and then we're going to charge you $2,000 a month and say that it's worth it. It's luxury. This is all completely remodeled. And it's luxury. It's luxury apartments now.
a lot of these people that live in like these northern states, they don't really know, the effects of mass migration or anything like that because they don't have those people coming here. It's unnecessary stress. Yeah, exactly. And I think more than half the country doesn't like illegal immigration. And the reason why I'm so extremely against it and why I hate the people that are doing it so much is that I view it to be a profound betrayal of your country and of your other countrymen. Whenever you are signing your country up to have to pay for like infinite foreign illegals and, like effectively like making them compete for housing and everything like that, it is an effective betrayal of your country by supporting this, by advocating for it, and by promoting it. And I'm not talking, everybody always likes to misunderstand and say that, oh, well, what about the legal immigrants? Nobody's even talking about that. It's not even part of the conversation.
No.
Like we're talking explicitly about illegal migration.
Yeah.
And illegal immigrants.
And anybody who's trying to bring in, if you have to add in some extra flair, if you have to add an extra flair to the conversation, well, that means you don't care about legal immigrants. If that's part of your argument, then you have already lost, because no one faults any single fucking illegal immigrant or anywhere. If you came over here for the right reasons, the right way, and you're not gaming the system, I don't care about you. You are such a non-thought in my brain. What I do care about are the people that are coming over here and gaming the system and purposely taking advantage of everybody. That's what I don't want. That's what I don't agree with, and that's why I don't give a fuck about them. Send them all back. Close the fucking borders and start vetting harder. If you don't have a logical and legitimate reason for being here, and no, refugee is not a viable and legitimate reason for being here. Because there are thousands of other countries around the world that you can refugee to. You can take refuge in any one of those other countries. So using the terms, I'm a refugee, at that rate, we'd all be refugees because the government here fucking sucks. You don't see us trying to escape. I mean, you do. You got the fucking the Rosie O'Donnell types, the fucking fat Karen retard bitches that fucking, I'm leaving them out into America. If you vote Donald Trump into office, I'm leaving the United States. Well, good, bitch. Peace out, Girl Scout. Don't let the fucking door hit your fucking fat twat on the way out. Like, we don't need that shit here. We already have our own fucking problems with the fucking stupid people that run our shit, doing everything for themselves and nothing for the people. We already have fucking tons of problems. And to keep dropping these people into our fucking laps for us to take care of, people that only know sorry, that's their only form of communication, is to apologize for how fucking ignorant they are. No, we don't need it. We already have enough fucking problems here to begin with. We got fat retard bitches like this fucking standing in the middle of fucking law, thinking they know it.
Go to jail and get slammed. Yeah, exactly. People who don't care are stupid. Well, I think that they don't see it as a direct problem because they probably haven't thought about it a lot. But like, if you think about it, you're going to see how that's how it is. Or see that's the way it is, like 100%. Wasted resource processing all the illegals through the system, so many secondary and tertiary effects, pouring that many resources into it. Exactly. And it's all done by design. This is what I said before about how Karens like to create bureaucracies to avoid accountability. This is a great example of it.
Convicted of the felony. So if you think about it, that is like the worst case scenario, because she has a law license that now is probably going to be suspended because she's a convicted felon. Then you also have something like her judgeship. You know, how many convicted felons can be judges?
Ashley, who testified in the Dugan trial, would not say whether he would ask for Dugan's resignation. In an emailed statement from a spokesperson, Ashley said it would be inappropriate for me to comment. Judge Dugan remains prohibited from exercising the powers of a circuit court judge under an existing order of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which remains in effect.
And what about things like your rights to vote and your right to carry firearms? Like she's lost all of that. So this judge has some real issues on her hands when it comes.
And that's what's insane is this judge put all of her rights up on a fucking board and said none of that matters. This guy being free in the United States of America matters more than every one of my rights. As if she's some fucking martyr. You are not a martyr, lady. You're about to be made into a jester.
Comes to this particular issue because she is a convicted felon when she gets
gotcha, bitch.
And this case vindicates me a little bit because, mind you guys, I was just suffering with a brain tumor, right?
I thought this was the guy. I was wondering. I was like, didn't I see this guy on Twitter? So he's already back.
Case first came across. I
think I do remember
and all my
running into his story.
She's not gonna get convicted.
Yeah. Anybody supporting this shit, we need to do whatever we can to make them have to live with the consequences of this value. Like, this is why I was so happy whenever, they sent all those illegals to Martha's Vineyard and to, like, New York. We should keep doing that. We should overload their systems with illegals until it completely collapses them, and then we'll see how much they like it. That's what we should do.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Nate, you don't know what you're talking
Don't
about.
deport them. Send them to fucking California. Send them to New York.
Liberal attorneys that I know.
Y'all want to fucking bring in the shit and accept it? Yeah, have fun with it.
Quit voting for people that want them to stay.
I think there's no other option because she did what they allege she did. And if you believe helping someone evade arrest when they're in the middle of their criminal activity is something that you should be okay to do, then I just disagree with you. I think she went too far in trying to
It's obvious that she went too far. It's not even a question.
Advocate, and she should have just been a judge.
Yeah.
Well, if you like this type of content over your election.
And this is the other thing. This is the reason, like, I hate this idea that we can't prosecute and go after judges. I think if you see a judge that's constantly making rulings and decisions that are biased and based off of, like, some sort of political goal, we should take that person and put them in jail. We should. I think that's a good idea. Because really, what is this person doing? This person is taking advantage of and co-opting the legal system in order to push their worldview. It's like, what's the difference between that and taking bribes? It's not really a big difference.
Subscribe to Look at YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah. I am a big fan of holding judges accountable.
Hell yeah. Fucking hold that bitch accountable. She shouldn't be able to get away with not a fucking thing. She made a stupid fucking decision that she weighed all of her options against. Obviously she did. No, I mean, no sane, logical person is not gonna weigh their options in a decision like that. Did she think that she was not gonna be arrested? Did she think that they were just gonna be like, oh, okay, you're a judge. It's cool. It's cool. Sorry, didn't mean to intrude. Sorry. No, it doesn't. No. And you'd have to be stupid as fuck to think that. You'd have to be a real brain dead idiot to think that. He's still.
The Department of Justice. The Trump administration is continuing its unprecedented support for the Epstein transparency after the Biden administration declined to make any files public. This is obviously a misrepresentation. Trump has gone out and pretended like he didn't know what they're talking about, and he tried to make the appeal to triviality with Epstein multiple times, and it's just so obvious what happened, right? And also, you broke the law by not releasing everything. And they know that. They should get impeached. There should be a level of accountability. At the end of the day, you've got to have heads roll if things aren't going the way that they should be going. They were forced to release them by law. Yes, they were forced to release them by law, and even then, they did not fully comply with the law.
No, they broke the law. They were compelled by law to release the files. And yeah, they released them. But they broke the law when the moment they went back in and started deleting things. Even if they started deleting things whenever they initially were told to release them by the law. Even if they were like, okay, we're going to release the files, but we got to delete these first. Nope. They instantly started breaking the law because they're withholding evidence. They're destroying evidence. That's actually worse. That's fucking worse. They're complicit in destroying evidence. And that's what it is. So, yeah, no. They should all... I keep saying it. They all are culpable. They're all guilty. All of them. All of them. I'll be back in a moment.
Law. They're
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I gotta order me some food. Oh my god, I'm fucking hungry. It's late, but I haven't really ate. I don't think I've eaten today. I think I forgot. Just been doing this, talking shit to the fucking world. I mean, talking shit to the world to nobody, but... And then I realized what was the issue. For some reason, I'm being throttled on Kick. For some reason, my the moment I start my Kick stream, it throttles. So I'm gonna do some switching to some stuff. Just real quick. That also could be it. Bitrate was a little bit high. So let's give it a try. I drop my bitrate over here. Oh, we're actually already there. That could be why it was. Is that it was trying to send 6,000 bitrate to Kick while also trying to send a 4,000 bitrate to Twitch. Bitrate mismatch. So I restarted my Kick. It seems like it's like if I... give it a moment. Okay, I think that's actually what it was. I think I had a bitrate mismatch. Because I'm using the item multi-stream. And with it, it comes its own settings. And you have your, it has its own bit rate it sends out with those pieces. But seeing as OBS still runs off of its native settings, even with the plugin, a confliction in those bit rates could be. It could also be why my YouTube stream wasn't. I want to start my YouTube stream. I wasn't using it before because it. Yep. Nope. Because YouTube is heavy. YouTube's real resource heavy. And they, like, if you don't have like 1 gig a second internet, it's going to be tough to stream on YouTube. YouTube needs a high bit rate. 5,000 is bit rate's minimum. And I can't run 5,000. I mean, running 5,000 bit rate, it just tanks my internet. I have poor people internet, like real poor people internet. Come on, guy. Can we not chew on my shoes? What, you want me to get you some more hay? Did you go through what's in there? What, buddy? What do you want, man? What's up, buddy? Yeah, he's kind of bugging me for something. Not really sure what he's getting a little buggy about. Yep. And there goes kick throttle. I just don't think I have the internet to do multi-stream. Because then I turn kick off, it goes back to normal. I just don't think I have the internet to push a multi-stream. Streams to multiple platforms. I mean, I don't make a whole lot of money. So, sorry, kick people. Just gotta kind of cut you off right now. But yeah, I need to order me some food. Nah, homie, we're not gonna do that. He's such a little butthead. He's over here trying to chew on my shoes. We're not gonna do that. That's an electrical box. I'm gonna grab him a bundle of hay. I already know when he gets chewy and wants to chew on my shoes and boot my ankles. He's telling me he wants some hay, which means that he's sad. The reason I haven't seen him in the last couple hours is he's probably sat in there and devoured a ton of his hay. So I'm gonna go in and give him a couple bundles of hay because it's what he wants. I already know that's exactly what he wants. So I'll be back in a moment. Come on, dude. Come get some hay. Come on. That's what you're talking about. You want hay. Okay. So yeah, that's exactly what he wanted. It's exactly what he wanted. He just wanted me to put some hay into his box so that he can have fresh hay. That was it. So what I'm gonna do, oops, that's the wrong set of keys. Cancel. Do this just so I can order me some food. Put this on. I don't know what DoorDash's logic is sometime. Like, there's a Wendy's. I mean, I can't drive anywhere. So it's not like I can just walk over to the fucking Wendy's and buy food because the inside is going to be closed. So the only thing that's open is the drive-through. And seeing as I don't have a vehicle because it's over at Wahlberg, I mean, I have to walk everywhere. And I'm not going to fucking Uber and spend money on an Uber to go over to the drive-through to spend more money. So I'm just going to order food to be delivered to me. Well, instead of the order being sent to the Wendy's around the corner, they sent it to the Wendy's that's around the corner and up the fucking street. So it's going to take even longer to get here. When they could have easily just sent it to the fucking place around the corner. Whatever. Stupid ass people. It doesn't matter. So that would have been Bush. Or, yeah, that would have been Bush. No, it's still Bush. January 21st, 2009. It's like 20th or 21st, one of those 2 days. There you go. Mm-hmm. No. It's bullshit. But doesn't mean that Obama's not innocent of anything. That's what I was saying earlier. Is all the people on that the list of the Epstein files, and they only release specific ones. They got a bunch of redacted ass faces of people. We don't know who they are. We don't know if they're prominent figures. I mean, we could tell some of them are on the younger side just by body shape and figures, but for all we know, they're hiding a ton of prominent figures that would collapse this whole fucking system. I'm asking questions about this stream suite because I don't want to cut off streaming from Kick. Yeah, that's what it is. That's why Kick is crushing my bit rate and ultimately causing my stream to drop frames. Is because it's using a restream plugin, which is coming from a cloud service and not actually using the PC's network encoder. What are you doing, dude? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna probably do that off stream. I'm gonna download that stream suite and see if I can't bring the Kick stream back in. And who knows? Maybe I might be able to fix the issues with YouTube and it wanting to, because you for right now I can't really use my YouTube stream to YouTube because uh I would have to stream to YouTube at a much lower quality. So and unfortunately I think in order to stream to YouTube I need I'll need better internet. I'll need to get a better modem and get better internet because my modem right now won't push a gig. You doing, man? You happy about your hay? You happy you got some hay to chew on? You're all right, dude. I just knock things over. Yeah, he's running in circles.
I bet 10 people could have done more than this. This is crazy. They're lazy. So yeah, after fucking a month, they've created 2 gigabytes of information. That's crazy. Should have kept Doge around? Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
AI can do it better. Anybody could do it better. Somebody who gave a shit could do it better. So anyway, what is being redacted? The Department of Justice is committed to transparency and redacting only what is legally required. The department is required by law to redact identifying information about the victims, minors, or potential victims, as well as privileged material. This is a legal term. I'm not familiar with what it means.
Again, no. No, fucking no. Because then you're using that term, that word privilege, as a coverall for hiding identities of pedophiles. No, of course you had to put that in here because we can't say Tom Hanks is in there. We can't say Oprah Winfrey's in. We can't say all these prominent people are in there. It would just destroy all this stuff. It would destroy all this stuff. We can't just release. So we got, hey, legalese people, what do we say? Oh, you say privileged material. Come on. That right there tells you that they're fucking purposely hiding pedophiles' identities because they know it would crush all this fucking fake bullshit that they've built. Right there tells you they've covered their ass in hiding identities of fucking pedophiles.
Redactions have been or will be made to protect famous individuals or politically exposed persons.
Yeah, bullshit.
Okay, that's at least good to see. Why have some photos been released and then removed? Good question. As material is released, the Department of Justice is receiving incoming from individuals alleging to be victims and their lawyers requesting that certain information be removed. Out of an abundance of caution, the material is temporarily removed for review and will be released again with appropriate redactions if legally required. So let me get this straight. So you guys had 200 people working on this, but not only could you not do all the information, but the information that you did do, you did it wrong. Okay, this is really good to hear. This is amazing. So
and they wonder why we're
shit,
losing trust.
That. Maybe sounds like horse shit to me. Well, anyway, how are people responding? Check that guy's hard drive. I highlighted the law for you.
The first fucking comment. The first fucking comment. Check that guy's hard drive.
No later than 30 days after the date of the enactment of the law, and then all. Yes, obviously, very fucking true. On what basis was file 468 removed? I don't know. And so Thomas Massey did oh no. He did a poll on this? Give me a minute. Is Attorney General Pam Bondi being transparent and complying with the Epstein Files Transparency Act by releasing the appropriate and necessary information? Well, I mean, my opinion is no.
No. 96%.
Wow. Thomas Massey just announced he's opening up.
If you still think that we have faith in our fucking institutions, it could be 5 fucking people that voted for that, but it's not. It's 92,000 people voted for that, and it's 96% of them say that they're not being transparent. And the ones that did are probably Pam Bondi, fucking Bongino, fucking Cash Patel. They're the only ones that voted. Yeah, we're being transparent. The 3.8% is Pam Bondi and all them lobbying all their coworkers. You got to go and vote on this thing. They're making us look bad.
An impeachment investigation into Pam Bondi. Okay, let me pull this up right now. I didn't even know
That's
about
fucking
this.
funny.
What are you going to do about it to force them to comply? I mean, can you do anything?
Oh, absolutely. Look, people have talked about...
Yeah,
and
bullshit.
By the way, Todd Blanche is the face of this, but it's really the Attorney General's office, Pam Bondi, who is responsible. And there are several ways to get at this. Some take longer, some are shorter. The quickest way, and I think most expeditious way to get justice for these victims is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi,
Oh.
and that doesn't require going through the courts. And
All
give
right.
her, and basically, Ro Khanna and I are talking about and drafting that right now.
What are you going to do about it to force them to comply? I mean,
Jesus. So now they're going in on it. You can't legally force people to comply with an order that endangers potential victims. I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but they claim to be protecting victims with their lawyers. Yeah, they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're lying. Everybody knows they're lying. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's obvious they're lying. Like, and here's how you know that they're lying. Because there are previous frames of reference and instances that they were proven to be lying in. Like, for example, them saying, oh, we're out of files. We don't have any more files. Well, if you don't have any more files, what did you just release? Well, it looks like you had more files. You lied. So there you go. Her having it on.
And not just that, Trump's whole, are we still talking about Epstein files? There are no files. That was a Democrat hoax. A lie. Straight fucking from the horse's mouth. There are no files. That's all a Democrat hoax. Yeah, okay, guy. Okay, guy.
On her desk. Yeah, exactly. They're framing MJ even after his death. They don't even care about us. Exactly. Yeah, and this is the other thing too, is that they don't even explain why this happened. Like this is again, like as I said before, like I've always really liked Michael Jackson. I think this is fucking ridiculous. It is absolutely fucking ridiculous that they went and they took the photo of Michael Jackson with his kids right there, and then they blurred it out. They blocked the whole thing out, and they never explained why. They never said why. I'm sorry, but posting this photo with Michael Jackson and Bill Clinton is going to make people believe that Michael Jackson is a fucking weirdo. And you should not be posting that without any context at all. You shouldn't be doing that. It's crazy.
Nope, it's fucking bananas.
It's bad. It's bad faith. It's massively bad faith. It's crazy, crazy, crazy bad faith. And anyway, let me see if I can finish the rest of these too, because I think this is the way it is. I remember there's GOP rep last year who tried doing the same to Attorney General Garland, and nothing ever happened. It's all theater. Exactly, that's the problem.
There you go.
And she's right, but she shouldn't be.
It's that simple.
Why do you think he is working so hard not to get them released for so many months? What do you think the real reason is?
These files implicate billionaires and friends of his and political donors that he's trying to protect. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies. That's why.
Oh boy.
There's so much
indeed
effort in trying to stop this. And I do believe they'll try to stop it somewhere else. And that's going to backfire on them too. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies.
Yep.
That's why there's so much effort in trying to stop this. And
wow. And do better watch his back. I mean, it's already out there, right? Anything happens to him, I feel like it's just going to radicalize people 1,000 times more.
It's
yeah.
Something happens to Massey, it's fucking scorched earth big time.
Plus, a bipartisan conversation with the two members of Congress who pushed to pass the law calling for the Epstein files to be made public. Has the Trump administration obeyed that law?
Nope.
We'll talk with Kentucky Republican Thomas Massey and California Democrat Ro Khanna. Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation.
That's what you call bipartisan right there.
In the tens of thousands of documents related to the case against.
I think that it was kind of surprising how deranged it was. I do. Like, it wasn't like anything super crazy, but it was pretty bad.
Convicted sex offender and accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and his partner, convicted child sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell. The Justice Department says that 1,200 names identified as victims or their relatives were redacted, along with materials that could result in their identification.
Nobody is mad about that. Nobody is mad about the every single word on the entire page. Like, come on.
Will the release of the documents satisfy Congress and the political forces who lobbied for their disclosure? And much more importantly, will it satisfy the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and their families? The two House members who pushed their colleagues into passing the bill to release these documents, Republican Thomas Massey, who's in Garrison, Kentucky, and Democrat Ro Khanna, who joins us this morning from Palo Alto, California. It's good to have both
And that's
of you
true.
here.
Like I said, that's
start
truly
with you,
bipartisan.
Congressman Massey, because in these past 48 hours, we have seen the Justice Department acknowledge it's an incomplete release, but they have put out more than 13,000 files. They say more will come. This isn't everything you asked for just yet, but would you acknowledge that they are complying with the spirit, if not the intent of your law?
No.
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 You beat me to the punch. Fucking no. Absolutely not.
No, they're flouting the spirit.
And you could see the smile in his face. He was waiting for that question. Like, look at the
Isn't
smile
everything you asked
on
for
Massey's
just yet,
face.
But would you acknowledge that they are complying with the spirit, if not the intent of your law?
No.
Like, watch the smile on his face. Like,
No.
thank you for asking that question. I was waiting for it. He's like, no, not at all.
No, they're flouting the spirit and the letter of the law. It's very troubling, the posture that they've taken. And I won't be satisfied until the survivors are satisfied. You know, I said in the hours leading up to this release that we will know if they are complying if they implicate any of the other criminals that are involved and the suspects that are involved, that the witnesses, the victims themselves have given to the FBI, and they've never been mentioned.
Well, there are some disclosures in here that seem new. Congressman Khanna, the documents confirm that the FBI received a complaint about Jeffrey Epstein back in 1996, but the woman, whose name is Maria Farmer, who made that complaint,
I was 11 years
said
old.
Federal officials failed to follow up. She said the disclosure makes her feel redeemed.
I don't think that's like federal officials don't follow up with a lot of these things. Like, that's just, it's realistically, it's just sometimes doesn't happen.
Well, especially so when it's somebody of prominence. Unless there's like mounting evidence for it, no, the federal government's not going to care about somebody who's making them tons of fucking money. Whether illegally or not. The government's not, they're going to do as they've been doing, and that's turn a blind eye. He's made them fucking tons of fucking money with his blackmail scheme, along with the fucking connections to Mossad. Like, he's already made these entities, he made them fuckloads of money. So no, they wouldn't have done anything about it. They only started doing something about it when it started to gain so much fucking traction that they couldn't just keep hiding it. That's why it took until what, 2007 for them to do anything? That's 11 more years. It took them 11 more years before they even did anything about it. And how many years past the first? 22 or 22. It's 21 years. 21 years before they even started to really fucking do anything about this guy. 20 plus years. They let him fucking run amok and be a skeeving, the scummiest, dirtiest thing on earth. They allowed all of these politicians to be dragged into it. So no, they all knew about it. They all were hiding it. Every president since has been hiding it. And you can't tell me that Les Wexner just happened into pedophilia when he met Epstein. There's no way. There's no way that Les Wexner just happened upon being a PDF file. There's no way. Which tells me that Les Wexner's been doing this for a lot longer than Jeffrey Epstein has probably been alive. But that guy still has his name all over fucking everything in Columbus. You better fucking believe it. He's still got his name all over everything in Columbus, and these people are still taking his money. So again, until they go scorched earth on these fucking people, it won't ever change. Nothing will be different. Nothing will change. It won't.
So yeah.
And that this was one of the best days of her life to see these documents made public.
And again, I don't care what they've done so much for humanity. They don't, obviously fucking not. They've not done anything for humanity if they can be taken down in a pedophile ring. You've done nothing for humanity. And I'll say the same thing about that lady, that supposedly lady for the women. Supposedly that lady was some great saint for women, but it turned out that every one of her organizations was affiliated with trafficking women. Every one of them. So you guys prop these people up. And then they turn out to be fucking real life villains. And then you want to be mad at us for pointing it all out. You guys do this. You all do this.
I'm just being realistic, right? I'm being realistic that, and also you could say that that's a problem in itself. I'd agree with you, but like I don't think that in itself is enough to say that for sure it was a conspiracy, right? Just because I've seen how these things have happened myself.
What action do you want taken around a case like this?
That was the single most important disclosure of what we got. I know Maria's sister. She sounded the alarm in 1996. She complained to the FBI. The problem is that Epstein was so connected with law enforcement and powerful politicians, the FBI did nothing for a decade. Frankly, she deserves compensation. She deserves an explanation. But the broader point is, Blanche was on this morning saying that Nancy and I have a problem that it's taking too long. That's not the problem. The problem is this was a slap in the face of survivors. What do they want? They want to know who are the rich and powerful men who visited Epstein's rape island and covered up the abuse.
It's so fucking simple, isn't it? It's so obvious what everybody wants.
It's to write the names on a fucking piece of paper and hand it out to everybody on Earth.
Everybody knows. It's in place.
These people should not have their names on these things being these kinds of people. And if it crushes their companies and their businesses and everything that they've done, so fucking be it. They deserve it. They don't belong in the greater populace of us. They're the sickest, most evil fucking people to be in existence, and yet they're allowed to walk around scot-free and continue to do what they're doing, because you can't tell me that just because all this is coming out that these people are like, okay, it's all known now, we got to stop. No. They're just figuring out a better way to do what they've been doing anyway. That's what they're doing. They didn't stop. They just found a better way to skirt. So you can't tell me that releasing any of these prominent people's names will have any other impact other than positive. Because then we know who to have faith in. We know who to ostracize. We know who to fucking excommunicate from society. And if it's rich and powerful people, so fucking be it. And if your company goes belly up because of it, maybe you should have thought about that before you were dabbling in the the PDF filing. Maybe you should have filed actual paperwork. So no, I don't care. Let it all fall. Because then at least then what we build from it will be in a better standing. We will know that it's not done in the darkest, deepest depths of depravity.
Plain English, it's fucking obvious.
And the key documents that our law basically said needed to be released, the 60-count indictment that actually implicates a lot of these people.
Keep in mind, this is what he said yesterday, is that 2 of the people that were implicated were named, 58 were not.
And the prosecution memo were not released. It's not about the timeline.
And it's not about, like, you know, it's like you could say, like, oh, 55 were released, 5 weren't. Okay, you know what? But the vast majority were not released.
It's about the selective concealment.
Hold on.
Well, yet, right? The Deputy Attorney General said there are more disclosures that will be made. You believe that they will not release that particular part? I mean, you did give them some leeway for redactions.
You did.
Well, first of all, the redactions were excessive, and even Harvard law professors who have looked at that have said you
get to
can't
eat all day.
redact internal
Why don't I get to
communications, you can't redact workforce product, and the courts are going to find that these were excessive. But my point, and I'm sure Congressman Massey can elaborate, is that
Did not like
we
that
want
cold
the
air
files
at
out.
all.
So if our sounding the alarm
Yeah.
on what is missing is going to help them get those files out, fine. But this shouldn't be a big document up. There's a pretty simple point. Who raped these young girls? Who covered it up? And why are they getting away with it?
Isn't it crazy?
It's so
that
fucking
we live
obvious.
in like an alternate universe where this very simple and very obvious
Cold
reality
ass fries.
is being hidden, obfuscated, and trying to, oh, where'd it go? Where are they? Oh, what is this? It's so fucking ridiculous, isn't it? Oh my
It's the
God.
meme.
It drives me crazy.
It's the fucking
You were
fisherman
saying
meme.
specific things regarding the indictment.
You almost
Congressman
got him.
Massey, I saw
You
in a
almost got
video
him.
that you posted, you had a very specific benchmark of success here. You said you know there
20
are at
people.
least 20 men accused of sex crimes known to the FBI. How do you know that number? And do you know those names?
Yeah, the survivors' lawyers have told me those numbers, and they've described their professions in general, but they've only given me one of those names, and I mentioned that in a congressional hearing, Jess Staley. So I searched these documents. I didn't see Jess Staley's name, nor did I see 19 other names.
Do you think he's lying?
Nope.
I don't think he's lying.
Nope.
So he literally just named somebody. He said, this is one of the people that should be in it, and they're not in it, so they're lying.
Yep.
There you go.
And here's why we shouldn't be
The most
optimistic,
believable person in politics right
that
now.
Blanche or Bondi are going to release these things. They sent a 6-page memo to Congress and said they cited pre-existing laws as reasons that they weren't going to follow our law. For instance, our law requires them to release information regardless of embarrassment, but they are trying to say that a previous law prevails when it doesn't. Common sense says it doesn't. The Privacy Act doesn't protect them from that. And then also, as Rose said, internal communications, they're using a FOIA standard that doesn't apply because our law already says they have to give us internal communications.
In terms of the gentleman there you referenced as accused, I mean, being in the document doesn't necessarily prove criminal behavior, right?
Obviously. Everybody knows. Yeah, of course.
And in terms of the redactions, what the Deputy Attorney General said is that they...
Pretty sure a congressional law...
But to be
outweighs that.
honest,
Of course it...
at this point, with how heavily redacted those documents are, yeah, pretty much, I'm sorry, but it kind of proves it. It kind of proves that you're part of this criminal behavior. Because why would you otherwise need your name redacted in the document? if you're not part of this criminal behavior. There's no other reason to redact your name out of the documents. So for them to have these names redacted in these documents, it tells me that they're part of the criminal conspiracy. It's not fucking be prank. It's not be coy about it. They are part of the conspiracy. If you needed to have your name taken out of those documents for embarrassment reasons, and you're implicit and complicit with all that's going on. Sorry to tell you. Especially seeing as these motherfuckers know that they're going to pop up in those documents. They know it. They know they've been to that island. They know that they've hung out with Epstein in a deeper capacity than just being seen together at a party. They know it. And seeing as they're not coming forefront with it, it shows that they have a lot more to hide than what they're saying.
It does. Yeah, it's not like
we're abiding by your law, and also a judge in New York had ordered them to listen to victims. So they're claiming that information that they had initially even published Friday, they had to pull down because they were trying to protect victims. You don't sound convinced that they are abiding by this intent.
No, they are not abiding, and all three judges who released the grand jury material said that our law trumps the prior law. That's just common sense, Law School 101. Yet Todd Blanche is using a different theory that wouldn't survive first contact with any court, which is he's trying to say that prior laws override our law. That's not the way this works.
Okay, what are you going to do about it?
That's just so fucking ignorant. Like, you literally have people in the realm of law that are manipulating it and breaking it. They know what they're doing.
About it to force them to comply. I mean, can you do anything?
Impeach them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, put them in fucking jail. What are we doing? I think that there is a growing frustration that a lot of people have, and this is a Democrat frustration. It's a Republican frustration. I'm going to be honest. It's a worldwide frustration. We see crash out protests in Indonesia. We're seeing them in Serbia. We're seeing them in Europe. We're seeing them in America. We're seeing them, you would be seeing them in Venezuela, but you can't. We're seeing them everywhere, right? All over the world where you can have any ability to protest. Brazil, Mexico, Nepal, Bulgaria. Yeah, everywhere. I think that the internet has given people, because now I think that everybody basically in majority of countries has the access to the internet, right? Mm-hmm. They're able to see information and see the way the world is. I mean, to an extent, right? Not completely, but like to an extent. And
obviously places like North Korea aren't going to have like real access to the internet. They're going to have like a North Korean focal point of access to the internet. I watched a video. I already knew that everything about North Korea was closed off anyway from being in the military. It's kind of the stuff you learn while you're in, just how cut off from the rest of the world some of these countries actually are. And some of them aren't cut off from the rest of the world because their government is keeping them cut off. No, they're cut off because they're the entirety of their country is still in very much so a primitive way. They don't have gridded technology. They don't have power grids, water tables. They don't have these things. They're still running very, very primitive, like using windmills for any bit of electricity. Using water wheels for getting water throughout places. And even then, they're still the most primitive forms of that technology too. They're not industrial style water irrigation systems. They don't have the type of infrastructure that we've built into this country. That's why this country can have a power grid in one city go down, but it doesn't affect anywhere else in the state. And it's because we've built these infrastructures and these infrastructure systems that do that. Other countries, they have it. Like North Korea, they have all this. They have modern technology, but the government is so tyrannical that even seeing what's on the internet for the rest of the world is detrimental to the continuation of their regime. So they close off any and all ability for anybody to see what's going on in the rest of the world. And it's not like here in America, where if you don't want to pay for music, you just download BearShare or LimeWire or Napster and give your computer AIDS while you build CDs. It's not like that. They don't have access to the network infrastructure that exists on the internet. We can get on the internet because of cabling that runs under the sea. Runs under the sea, under the ground. It gets sent out through our infrastructure to the cities and the states and the country. These other countries, they don't have that. They don't have that infrastructure. So for them to get internet, they would be pretty much solely Wi-Fi. And seeing as they have closed off networks to begin with, their Wi-Fi only connects to their nation's connection. They don't have individualized internet. The internet is provided by the state. And with it, they provide all the material, all the social media, the internet. They don't have real news sources. They have North Korean news. That's it.
Being able to do that, they realize that they're being run and ruled by a bunch of fucking scammers, clowns, pedophiles, rapists, and demons. That's what's happening. And they're saying, well, this sucks. This is fucking ridiculous. Why are we putting up with this shit? Right? They're taking bribes. They're taking money. They're living high on the hog. Well, they treat everybody else like actual hogs. That's it. And I think people are tired of it. They're totally tired. Do you think Trump should go to jail right now if something is unredacted and it proves he's a pedophile? So if something was proven, so let's think about it theoretically, right? Trump is proven to be a pedophile by this. It's dead to rights, 100%. Should he go to jail? Absolutely. It's not even like, what do you mean? Like, obviously, yeah, duh.
Impeach him the fuck out of office.
And also, here's the other problem.
And then put him in prison.
If you don't send him to jail, you sacrifice the rest of his term to just being garbage. It would be better for Trump if he went to jail. It would be better for us, not for him. It'd be better for us if he went to jail, because then at least J.D. Vance could get rid of the fucking the baggage of Trump.
Yep.
Like, that's it. Because really, like, there's so much baggage with this guy. Like, I think he's really funny. There's a lot of things that he does that I agree with, I think are great, but not everything. And it's like there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. I like the mass deportations. I like, X, Y, and Z thing. But the amount of like baggage and like just unnecessary bullshit that we have to deal with because of Trump
does not absolve you from anything else.
People, it's too much.
Yep.
They don't
it
want to
does not
deal with
absolve
somebody
you.
who's constantly going on Twitter talking about how he's, like how some guy that got murdered with his wife, he's bringing up the fact that like, oh, he didn't like me, and so he had TDS, and like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing this for? Why are you doing this? So I think absolutely should go to jail. And by the way, everybody thinks this. Like, the only people that don't think this are like 5 mentally ill people on Twitter, because they think that any accusation against Trump is just categorically illegal or categorically a lie. That's it. It's the baggage and personality. JD Vance is a perfect successor. There's zero dirt on the guy. Well, besides the sofa thing. But yes, you're right. And I think that's the main thing. Bro, Vance is a pedophile too. Yeah, everybody I don't like is a pedophile. Well, that's good. Now at least you're not using Nazi anymore. And so my point is that basically, yeah.
That's foreshadowing. That is foreshadowing. And I'll tell you why. Because back before Trump, you hardly ever heard somebody call somebody a fascist, a Nazi, unless they were actually a fascist or a Nazi. But then once Trump happened, everybody that people didn't like became fascists and Nazis. Now that essentially Trump movement's taken over, they need a new thing. They can't call everybody fascists and Nazis. Then, I mean, kind of, what happened? What was all the discourse from years ago? How's it? You guys go from fascists and Nazis. Now they're all fascists and Nazis. It don't make sense. So they need a new thing. And the new thing is you're a pedophile. Oh, you don't agree with me? You must be a pedophile. You think Trump? You think Trump is a bad guy? You must be a pedophile. You have to be a pedophile. You think Trump is a bad guy? You got to be a pedophile. That's going to be the new thing. That'll be the new thing going forward. Is we're going to keep doing this little dog and pony thing back and forth with creating new terms to call each other when the people we put faith and trust in turn out to be scumbags. And it's going to be the thing. This is the new thing. I'm calling it now. The new thing is calling people pedophiles.
Yeah, I think so. If theoretically, like if it was proven that anybody in government was one of these weirdos, like a rapist, like yeah, they should go to jail. Absolutely.
It's not even a fucking conversation.
Having another take.
It's fucking common sense.
Imagine thinking, no, it's a good idea for us to have a pedophile president. Even if you agree with Trump, you shouldn't want that. Because if that's the case, you know that from now on, supporting or agreeing with him in any regard will be seen as supporting a pedophile. So nobody will ever support him. Nobody will actually do anything. He'll only be the president in name, and nothing that he wants to do will get done. So even if you don't agree with, like, you know, you hate Democrats, you should still want to get rid of this guy. Because in order, like, purifying your own, you know, group of, I guess purifying your own group of people could sound racist, right? But I'm talking about ideology here. Is that keeping that ideology pure and not having it be polluted by bad actors or by, you know, criminals or something like that is necessary. It's fundamentally necessary. And if you don't do that, you're going to have a lot of problems.
Absolutely. Look, people have talked about, and by the way, Todd Blanche is the face of this, but it's really the Attorney General's office, Pam Bondi, who is responsible. And there are several ways to get at this. Some take longer, some are shorter. The quickest way, and I think most expeditious way to get justice for these victims is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi. And that doesn't require going through the courts. And give her, and basically, Ro Khanna and I are talking about and drafting that right now.
Okay, well, I mean, on another network this morning, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine said impeachment or contempt, it is premature, Congressman Khanna, and the deputy attorney.
Premature?
How?
Shut up, retard. He's a bald, fat retard. I know who Tim Kaine is.
Attorney General said bring it on.
I think almost everybody knows who Tim Kaine is.
Very seriously, and if you just don't have the math in the Senate, including at least now this Democratic senator not being convinced, doesn't that sort of show that you're at the limit of pressure?
No, we only need the House for inherent contempt, and we're building a bipartisan coalition, and it would fine Pam Bondi for every day that she's not releasing these documents. I'll tell you why. I've talked to the survivors, why this is such a slap in the face. One of the survivors said they released her name accidentally. But
okay, he's not totally bald and he's not that fat, but I mean, if I looked like that, I'd think I was fat. And if I had this look at this, guys. Look, see that right there? That's worse than me. So if he's not bald, neither am I.
They still have not released the FBI file about the people who abused her at her request. And the
Asmund does have a 12 head.
There are rich and powerful people. We all know this. There are 1,200 victims. They're rich and powerful people who either engaged in this abuse, covered it up, or were on this island. And what the American people want to know is, who are these people? And instead of holding them accountable, Pam Bondi is breaking the law. And this is the corrupt system, the Epstein class that people are sick of. So I believe we're going to get bipartisan support in holding her accountable, and a committee of Congress should determine whether these redactions are justified or not.
Sometime in January when you all come back, I assume that'll happen. I want to ask you, though, Congressman Khanna, there have been images released in the past 48 hours. Some of them include former President Bill Clinton. There's at least one image of Donald Trump. I should say neither man has been accused of any wrongdoing related to Epstein, though they clearly knew him. But since Friday's publication, we're showing the image here now. One of the pictures was pulled down. There were 15 images total that were then redacted from the DOJ website. And it's kind of hard to see, but it's an open drawer with a photo of President Trump. Why do you think that was pulled down? Because the Deputy Attorney General says
she was definitely trying to keep in the fuck.
Victims saying that their privacy or somehow their integrity was being compromised by having that image published.
Well, I'm less concerned about that photo. I don't know the facts. My concern is the major documents that we know are out there that haven't been released.
He's right that the photo is kind of a red herring. It's not like it's not indicative or anything of anybody. It's just a photo of a drawer of Trump with some women, right? Like, he's right. It's not anything crazy. But like, in my opinion,
it raises questions.
It's not the photo that's crazy. It's the fact that you got rid of it. That's the thing to me, is like all of this stuff. It's like being like, something that like somebody looks guilty. Okay, that's fine. But why are you acting guilty? That's more interesting to me.
That's when it becomes a problem.
Why are Americans so like you?
I told somebody recently, something can only be a scandal if you're worried about it getting out. Really, it is. It's a scandal if you're worried about it getting out. And then it gets out, and then you're doing damage control. That's when it's a scandal. I mean, this is kind of a subjective case of it, because this is a scandal on the definition that there are high-profile people that were either knowing or actively engaging in grotesque ways toward minors and women, and they're allowed to walk free. They're allowed to donate their money to organizations, to politicians. They're able to continue on life as if they did nothing wrong. And everything that they had done is perfectly legal. And that's one of the bigger problems. And it's like I said, people aren't so much, are mad so much to the point where people are mad about the fact that there are high profile people. It's the fact that who these profile people are. That's what people are mad about. You're hiding high profile people on the grounds of embarrassment. You should be embarrassed to even say that.
With this, the rich and powerful people do not matter. This is the way bigger than those people, and the implications are insane. Well, it's because people are tired of it. And that's what I was saying before, is that people are tired of this worldwide. They're tired of a global boomer hegemony that puts the needs of young people last, that tries to consolidate power and hold on to it as long as humanly possible, and then figures out every way to scam young people, make their lives worse, and just in general, fuck over everybody for no reason. That's that's what it is.
I've already said
politics,
that.
Yes, and so
I literally just said that.
Worldwide. It's not like in America. It's
because I came up with the theory back before the election. The reason these people do this stuff and the reason they don't care, and you think, well, they have kids, they have to care. No, they don't, because by the time it actually starts to really make an actual impact on their kids, these people will be so old and dilapidated that they're just going to be bedridden. They'll be taken care of with their multiple millions of dollars, set up in a facility where they're being cared for day in and day out. So they won't care. They won't give a damn about what's happening to their children. Is they achieved what they wanted, and that's selfishness. Say it right. That's selfishness. They were selfish when they were, before they had their children, while they were raising their children. What makes you think that they won't? They'll all of a sudden become less selfish since their children have grown up? No. And the reason they won't is because their children aren't following their legacies. All these disgusting, gross, heinous-ass people, you can look at their children and see that something is definitely fucking wrong there. Because these kids are crashing out at such a young age. They're crashing out younger than Britney Spears did when she crashed out. And that girl has been abused by everybody since she was a Mouseketeer. All those people that were Mouseketeers were abused. I guarantee it. So yeah, all these people need made known.
Everywhere.
The 60-count indictment that shows massive financial fraud and foreign interference, the prosecution memo. And look, they put out these Bill Clinton pictures. But, well, they're allegations that they're foreign governments that potentially were involved.
Which ones?
And that all needs to come out. And it needs to come out in the indictments. It needs to come out in the prosecution memos. But the reality is they put out these pictures for Bill Clinton. Fine, put it all out. But don't distract from the fundamental issue, which is who are these powerful people who visited the rape island? I mean, there are 1,200 victims. It defies common sense that it was just Epstein and Maxwell. And
exactly. It's completely irrational to think that it was just those two people. Like,
you would have to be an idiot.
If you believe that, you're retarded.
They're hiding something. And
Man, we click on the same fucking way. You would literally have to be retarded to believe that only Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were the only two people in that whole thing that were doing all this. Those two people, just them two people alone, created 1,200 victims. You'd have to be fucking retarded to think that. And even more so, you'd have to be even more retarded than retarded to believe that. To hear that and say, yeah, that sounds credible.
You know why the American people are so upset? My X account had MAGA supporters supporting me for the first.
It's not the thing is that it's not MAGA, it's not Republican or Democrat. Like this is a big issue. Period. It's things like making sure that the country has a military, figuring out how to make the roads work. This is a problem that media has created where every single fucking issue has to be divided by party lines. And people invent these alternate realities that every single problem has a 50% ratio of people that like and don't like it. It's fucking ridiculous. There are a lot of issues that I think most people agree on. And just because the other side that you disagree with thinks it's good, that doesn't make it bad. It's just, It's caveman thinking. I support the guy on this. Unfortunately, nothing else. That doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't. You should get used to doing that. That's what normal people do. Work together in times that you can find common ground, and you can argue in times that you don't. Like, that's normal. You don't have to. Not everything has to be all or nothing.
Time saying.
And again, why is it a thing that we either agree or we hate each other? Like, the phrase is agree to disagree. That still leaves you walking away as potential communicators. When you literally say, I don't agree with you, so everything you say is against everything that I believe, so I must be against you. That's so stupid. And that's why we have such an issue with this political bullshit, is because people are so quick to jump on somebody's side that they like because they said some things that they like, rather than looking at all of the issues and saying, okay, not everybody is going to be in agreement with this, but the people that I'm going to agree with are going to be people that aren't going to be okay with this. And again, these people were all okay with this. It wasn't until like 2017 that they weren't.
She is breaking the law. She needs to be held accountable.
Yeah. You're referring to the Vanity Fair quote that the chief of staff gave, saying the whiffed, and she said that Pam Bondi gave them binders full of nothingness, and then when it came to the client list, she said it was on her desk. There is no client list, quote, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk. Do you see that as an acknowledgement here, though, that the politics have overtaken the substance?
Something's wrong. Everybody can tell something's wrong. Different people have different guesses on what's wrong and why it's wrong, but everybody knows something is wrong.
No, for us, it's about the survivors. And if you look at Thomas Massey in my comments the morning of the release, we were giving Blanche the benefit of the doubt. We said, if it's not all there, fine, just get the information out. It's when the survivors said that this is an insult, this is a slap in their face, that we aren't getting the truth about who these men were on Rape Island, that we started sounding the alarm. And this is more documents of nothingness.
You keep saying that. It's cracking me up.
The American people have, even to me, is the system so corrupt? Is the system so corrupt that Thomas Massey and you defy the odds, pass a bill through a discharge petition, get the Senate, get the president to sign it, and still these rich and powerful people are being protected? Who has this kind of hold on our government? What are they hiding? Why are they not releasing this?
Exactly. It's just all common sense questions.
Well, you want what? People involved in those initial investigations down in Florida re-examined and possibly prosecuted?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Was that a question or was it rhetorical? Are you just trolling?
What do you mean? Like, yeah, of course. Like, did they do something wrong? Like, yeah.
I want the information out, which was in that prosecution memo that Acosta disregarded, that were in those indictments, that there were 60 counts against Epstein. Only 2 counts were prosecuted.
That's what he was talking about yesterday when he went on Hassan's stream. Listen to that again.
I want the information out, which was in that prosecution memo that Acosta disregarded, that were in those indictments, that there were 60 counts against Epstein. Only 2 counts were prosecuted. I want to know, who were these other people who were on the Epstein's rape island? Who were the people who saw young girls being paraded around at parties, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and didn't say anything? And why is this so hard when there's a law requiring these names to come out? What we're seeing is survivors' names come out, but not the men who abused them. And instead of holding elites accountable,
this is the thing that people said with the Maxwell trial, with Ghislaine Maxwell, that basically how is it that this woman is being charged for human trafficking?
He said Ghislaine. I know for a full fucking well, he knows how to say her name. He said Ghislaine for a reason. He called her Ghislaine. He said Ghislaine Maxwell.
Trafficking, but we don't figure out who she's trafficking to.
Pam Bondi is breaking the law.
Well, we will see when you gentlemen come back to work sometime in
I don't
January.
think she's convinced.
What your next measures are. It sounds like you've made it clear you're moving action against the Attorney General. Thank you both for your reaction.
Rightfully
today.
so.
I think it has to be faster. You have to do this as soon as you possibly can. Like you can't let this sit around.
Don't let this
then they're gonna
fucking
try to
even
stall it out.
don't
Then
even
we're
let the
going
ink
to
dry on the
have
fucking
attention
paper.
Be taken over by midterm elections, and it's going to get displaced. I mean, really, Republicans should want to put this issue to bed before the what do you call it? Before the midterms happen. Like, it's the best possible thing that Republicans could do for themselves is to completely kill this issue before the midterms. Totally get rid of it. Rokana post. Yeah, I'll see what he's saying in a minute. But yeah, this is nuts. And let me see if I can find a few more of these here too. But no, it's not that. There's something else. This is something else too. I've seen it before. Opening up impeachment. This is what I saw already. And yeah, here it is.
It's completely redacted. For the most part, the first 50 pages. This one's not readable. It's completely redacted. For the most.
What might happen if President Trump pardons Pam Bondi? I think that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I think that if he did that, he would be effectively destroying all of his political capital, and nobody would really support him after that. I don't think that they would. And
No
I
one
think
would
that it would
support
be hard
him.
for,
No one
you
would
know,
support. No one would support any conservative in the future. If he wants to effectively destroy any hope the Conservative Party has for some type of semblance of repairing politics, he will not pardon Pam Bondi. She knows she broke the law, and if she's such an America First person as she says she is, she will say, "Yep, I realize now what I have done is completely against my job and against the law. So I will take my ass whooping." And she'll take it. She'll go to fucking prison and she'll sit in fucking prison. She will take it. That's if she is such a America First person, like she who had everybody believing she was back in before the election. She had me. The whole fucking Trump. Well, the thing of it is like, I'm not gonna say they had us. It's because what they were saying and what they were doing and what they wanted to do was the right thing. But like many things, they got into office. They started being clandestinely lobbied to by the shadow force. And the shadow force just let them know, like, hey, remember all that evidence we've been collecting over your entire lifetime? Yeah, you're going to do what we say. Because remember, you still promised to release those Epstein files, and you exist within those Epstein files. Because that's what happened. That's why that administration did an about face. Almost day one. Is because their handlers reminded them that they're under obligation still. So yeah, they know.
But he really just, like, he don't care. I don't think that, maybe you could say he doesn't care, But after that happens, like eventually there will be some.
It's the end of that video. We've been messing around with the politics. It's getting late. We're probably going to be calling it soon. Been on for almost 12 hours. I haven't done a 12-hour stream in a long time. So let's just see what's going on in the gamer world. Star Citizen devs talk about economy updates, hauling, and future wipes. Actually, I do want to see
Hello
this.
and welcome to some more Star Citizen with an economy update.
I've been
from
getting back
the
into
economy
it.
team, talking about Alpha 4.5 changes and beyond, as well as persistent universe wipes of the future. This was all from a set of Spectrum posts from Highlander CIG, who I don't actually know what their job title is, but I do know he is a dev on the economy team. This is a bit of an info dump, but we will give it a bit of extra context where possible. I say where possible, where appropriate, I suppose is the correct term there. Howdy, Econ team here. We wanted to go into a bit more detail regarding the reasoning of why we felt the changes we made were possible, healthy, and beneficial for the game. I'll answer some expected questions throughout. If you're not a fan of lots of details, sorry. Disclaimer, it's a sandbox, so almost every rule has at least one exception. Our systems prefer rubber bands to hard boundaries. Ore refining. In Alpha 4.5, refined ore has effectively been compressed. You'll get much less ore for the amount you put in and then get refined, but they have raised the value of that refined ore significantly, meaning that you'll be carrying more value overall versus cargo space when you've got your refined ore there. Why the refining change for mining then? While starter mining vehicles can carry 32 SCU of ore, starter freight ships do not carry 32 SCU of cargo. We want to make it easier with a smaller freight ship to transport the refined ores while still getting the full value of what you've mined. It works better to have smaller volumes of refined ore for some upcoming features. Assumedly, that's going to
Well, the mining changes, I haven't really messed with the mining. I kind of got rid of my mole and started dabbling in other ships. Interdiction, LEO ships, medical, mostly hauling. I love the space trucker. I love being a space trucker. It's fun. I actually traded in my ground miner, my rock, for a salvager. Yeah. Yeah, I traded it in for a salvage ship. And then I pulled some beggar status in chat so that I could get the rest of the money I needed to buy the 3 ships that I wanted. So I picked up, because I used to have one of the old Drakes, one of the old Cutlasses, but I traded up on that for a Freelancer Max, and a Gladius. And then I was rocking those for a while, snagged the rock, and was using that. I picked up the mole. I was using that for a bit. I actually had the mole before the Freelancer, and I just ore mining. It's fun, but it just wasn't. It wasn't as much fun as I would have liked. I mean, I was hoping when I bought the mole and all that, because supposedly when I bought it, it was like 2017, 2018. They were talking about introducing gas mining, and I really wanted to gas mine. I loved gas mining in EVE Online. It's a lot of fun, very lucrative, especially if you can get through the wormholes and get those rare deposits. I was pretty good at being able to get in, sneak snag deposits, and then popping out of the hole before getting caught by anybody. Sometimes you'd have the rats pop in on you, and you'd have to take off real fast. Because I got pretty good. I had a really good teacher to teach me EVE Online, and I got really, I'm gonna say rich, but I didn't pay money to the game after a while. I mean, I didn't really pay money to begin with because my mentor was filthy rich. This dude was a drone miner and had some of the most insane footage I've ever seen in EVE Online. The man was he was a beast. The dude was a beast. He could fuck you up with his drones while mining. And he was good. He was really good at EVE. Hopefully he's still around doing things. If you're still out there, Macduff, I still think about your brother. Fucking the true EVE mentor. But yeah, I was just hoping that Star Citizen would get gas mining, but they didn't. Then the kind of like the plans on the their little roadmap, they kind of started slipping further and further. Then they changed their roadmap, and then gas mining got pushed hard into the background. So it's kind of like whatever. I kind of started giving up on mining, so I switched out of mining and went into more hauling and law enforcement, bounty hunting. And it's a lot of fun. That was actually a lot of fun doing that. But again, it's like the mining's fun if you're into that super slow paced gameplay. That's really slow paced gameplay. Mining is very slow paced. Some people say, well, salvaging is very slow paced. Not if you get good. If you get good at salvaging, you're zipping in and out fast. And the longest time you'll take is ejection. That's the longest you're going to take is in the ejection phase. And that's just ejecting the materials into the pods to be able to sell the pods. And some places won't buy the pods, so you have to fly to other places to sell the pods. I mean, and with mining, you take that and you amplify it, because not every station and system is going to have lucrative pricing for that material. Some places are going to be more, some places are going to be less. So you got to kind of run a lot of meta outside to find the best places to sell your materials. With salvaging, it's pretty so far right now, what I've seen, there's kind of like base pricing for the material, a lot of the materials you get out. Granted, you can, now that they implemented the new engineering update with these salvaging contracts, I'm wondering if it's going to change them to where before you couldn't go onto a ship and pull its components before salvaging the ship. You just salvage the ship and just deal with what you got. And if you fractured it and it had cargo you could get, then yeah, you cool, woohoo, got cargo. But it's with the new changes to engineering, all your components, your ship components, are actual components that hold place in the world. It's not just an aesthetic look with stats. They actually hold space in the game's world. So hopefully with these engineering changes, it gives the ability to, when people do salvaging contracts, they can go onto these ships and pull some of this equipment, even if it's not equipment that it's like bare bones, like base equipment. Being able to sell that individual equipment instead of selling the ship as salvage increases the immersiveness of the game, and then it adds that another layer of salvaging that it makes it much more enjoyable. Is that even though the chance for rare materials to proc in that fashion or is very low, it's still that chance. You still have that instance that maybe you can get that rare, that the one time you just like, oh yeah, I want to go in here and grab these components just to make some extra cash, the extra cash. And you find, holy shit, I got a rare proc. And you get an upgrade for your ship. Or you can sell it to another player for even more money. So like I said, it adds an even deeper level of gameplay. And I mean, it gives a lot of opportunities for it as well. So the engineering update is awesome. It's going to be fucking, as it evolves and gets better and better, it's going to be a great addition to this game. It's one of those additions that longtime players have been kind of waiting for a reason to actually go out and hunt some of these more rare ships, go out and try to steal some components off of a big capital ship. Because I would assume if you can get on the ship, you can get its components. So it's, like I said, it is another layer of intrigue that's added to the game.
Going to be crafting and stuff like that. But I mean, it's also just a general economy rebalance, right? As part of the Alpha 4.5 patch notes, CIG also said the base prices of nearly all commodities have been significantly increased across the board. This affects all major brackets of sandbox commodities, 32 and 24s,
I think that's the
16s,
reclaimer.
8s and 2s. Price differences within brackets have been pressed closer together in order for dynamic pricing to better influence which goods are optimal. Highlander's post continues, what are brackets? Brackets are back-end groupings of commodities which help us reinforce the rarity, volume and supply of resources throughout the verse. They don't have official names for now, so we're still calling each bracket by its crate. If something is easy to mine in a large volume, like copper, then locations that have or need copper should reflect that. Since gold is rarer and harder to find than copper, it's in a smaller bracket. For now, the simplest way to differentiate brackets for traders is by the maximum crate size purchasable to help
adorable little
here's some
fluff ball.
insight on the brackets. So this sort of stuff breaks down into your larger cargo ships, the 32 and 24 brackets, the sort of big crate brackets, and like ships like the Caterpillar or larger, being able to take the more valuable.
That's what that was. That's a Caterpillar.
And pressurized ice.
That red with black
casual sort of
Caterpillar
stuff like helium.
I think it's a
mercury,
hauler.
and silicon. And competitive
It's a
versus
container
pressurized,
hauler.
Competitive goods have like lower supply, higher demand.
It's a
but they
large,
are
it's a
potentially high
heavy
value,
container
higher
hauler.
baked or harder to get or whatever, but give you better reward. And there's casual goods which have
I've
high
flown
supply
that.
and lower demand.
That's a fun ship.
Right? Like the helium, mercury, and silicon, significantly sort of easier to get is the idea. Moving down a size, the 16 bracket, you've got something like the Star Lancer Max, 224 SC of cargoes-ish, right? And then you've got your competitive goods of gold and bioplastic, but your common...
The bad thing is when I was flying that ship, none of the wing stuff worked. And if you tried to use it, you had like a 50-50 chance of blowing the fuck up. I mean, it wasn't a ship that I bought. It was one of those, I was a subscriber. So you get some of the newer ships to fly for free, to test them essentially before they go flight ready. And that's what it was. It was, pretty much flying one of them, and it was like a 50-50 chance of messing with the wing shit and it blowing up. It got to a point where I stopped flying it.
Of scrap and astatine, going down another size.
I was actually kind of happy when they got rid of it.
Cutlass Black, around 46 SU of cargo.
The Vandal was the
Pretty
same way.
small
That
cargo
ship
hauler,
was
but still
fucky
take a
for a
reasonable
long
amount of
time.
cargo. Your sort of competitive
Not
goods
bad
are
now.
Diamantium, fresh food, and then your sort of casual ones are organomass and iodine. Going down to pretty small, the Clipper, sort of, this is the 2s bracket, but it's like 12 SCU of cargo.
But with this new update, not every ship got full engineering support. The ships that were prioritized in that were the ships that have full interiors that you can walk around in. If they have an interior you can walk around in, or they have engineering panels, they're very likely to have the new implementations. Now, granted, I believe the cutlasses, the Drake cutlasses, those are only still partial support, and I believe it's probably because that's a wide range ship or class of ships. Because they have the medical ship, they have the law enforcement ship, law enforcement bounty hunter ship. They have the straight fighter. So that ship is probably being dealt with to keep it consistent with its own class, like making sure that the components that work with the medical ship aren't being essentially treated the same way by the game as the other ship's components. They work independently and they work symbiotically with that ship and aren't able to be treated like, obviously there's some parts to be interchangeable, but there are some things that the ship can do and can take and some that they can't. So it's just one of those things there. With ships like that, they're probably trying to make sure that they have their integrities intact. I need to go and turn the heat on. I'm fucking frozen. No, we're not going to bed yet. You can go to bed if you want, bud. You don't have to stay up. You don't have to stay up. You can go to bed if you want. He's acting like he wants to. He's telling me we need to go to bed. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, man. We need to go to bed. Like, bud, you can go lay down if you want to. Dude, you can sprint in circles if you wanted to. I don't give a shit. Do what you want to do, man. Play with your bag. Play with your stuffs. Run in circles. Binky. I don't care.
Cargo from the Clipper, you might want to be taking the competitive goods of diamond, laminate, or partillium, and then you sort of have more casual goods as AV equipment, or slam apparently. So all goods can still make good profits when traded, and keep in mind that commodities within each of the brackets still have a good deal of variance in how competitive versus how casual they are. What values will I likely see affected differently between resources in different brackets? Brackets help represent scarcity, value, stock, and more. Outside of just prices, smaller brackets will be restocked more slowly and have lower limits to their stocks. Many locations simply won't be keeping an Olympic swimming pool worth of Atlassium, as it's a rare material. What do brackets mean for mining, salvage, and other resource gathering loops? Honestly, this isn't new for y'all. Miners have been using the bracket system for years. We just took a while to apply those same rules everywhere. Quantanium 2 is much rarer than Taranite 8, which is rarer than Hephaestonite 16, which is rarer than Tin 32. So that's the sort of brackets, right? The rarity and size that you take the material in. Trading in brackets, let's rip off the band-aid. If you are a solo trader, it's intended to have much more challenge while trading smaller bracket goods in larger ships. Mostly, it's just not the optimal use of your space and time. It's extra work, especially in dangerous areas, to move large quantities of smaller crates into your ship than it would be fewer larger crates. That's not even considering that you are fighting for a much smaller stock with other traders. In short, it's more efficient for a ship like the Starlancer Max to be loading up 16 SCU crates than attempting to fill its grid with 8s or 2s. So that's a really good sort of explanation there. We want lots and lots of different abilities for ships to get involved with the cargo running and cargo gameplay. They can sort of get involved with the higher level one or different sizes if they want to, but it creates lots of different trade routes based on different brackets of goods, so it's much more likely that certain size of ship will be transporting a particular type of good because it's in their interest to do so. Considering prices in the game are constantly dynamically changing based on demand, this makes the difference between commodities on the ends of different brackets cleaner. This means that players who know what bracket they want to focus on have a more actionable amount of information. Is there still a point into getting bigger hauling ships? Absolutely there is. A Caterpillar full of pressurized ice 32 has the ability to make around 20% more per trip than a Starlancer Max full of bioplastic 16. This in turn is about 20% more than a Cutlass Black full of fresh food 8, and so on. No matter how efficiently you trade, there's a cap on how much you can make trading 8s in the appropriate size ship. If you jump from 8 to 16, you will make more profit running 16s in ships appropriate to that size. What about multi-crew? We restrict brackets by making it more dangerous and slower to trade at a smaller bracket the bigger your ship is. Those restrictions can be mitigated by simply having a bigger crew. If you have enough people to load a Starlancer Max with bracket 2 goods efficiently, go for it. Of course, you might need to get a variety of bracket 2 goods depending on how much the location supplies. Your ship will also end up having a lot of value concentrated in one point. What do you mean about closer values in a bracket being better for dynamic pricing? Prices in most shops are currently semi-dynamic. You should definitely read the trade tutorial in the journal in the game. For instance, if a location offers or requests gold at a discount of 10% or a premium of 10%, those premiums and discounts trend towards 0 the more players buy or sell there. Server hopping will not change that. That's in the game and it's already affecting all your profits if you are a trader. So if the best bracket 8 commodity to sell is valued at a 25% premium at, let's say, 1,000 Alpha UEC, and the second best option is offered at a 25% premium with a base of 975, then as soon as enough players have reduced that premium by 10%, then it's actually no longer the best option. This means that whatever the most players are buying and selling will usually be not the best thing to trade and sell. This creates a meta in the trading loop of trying to outplay other traders. I do want to say something here. Star Citizen's economy is partially simulated and kind of reined in by them. They have control over it. It's not fully player-led or anything like that. So bear that in mind. The economy's much more on rails than other economies. It's not like Eve's economy. Anyway, back to the post. There have been large exploits. Why are we now getting even more ways of making more money? Isn't the timing here a bit bad? Yes. The exploits from the last 2 patches have been rough for the game and the economy. As a result, a full wipe is likely at some point down the line. Let's speak about the abundance of earnings you're currently getting. If you feel like you are gaining more Alpha UEC than you can spend, that's intentional. When we look to add the badly needed sinks and cost decisions later next year, so in 2026, those new costs will be balanced against the current Alpha UEC earning. That said, we want feedback and analytics on those numbers as they are now, so we can correctly implement those sinks. For now, you might find that your Alpha UEC earnings are much higher than your expenses necessitate, but rest assured that the values will start making more sense down the line. These are the good days, boys. Your money's going soon. I saw some follow-up questions as well, which I'll go over. Would be nice to wipe this patch if possible. I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but the amount of money running around, nobody has interest in doing anything other than just flying around and displaying their exploited fleets. So, Highlander responds, not even speaking about the others that need to give a go-ahead for a wipe. I personally want to be able to see at least half a patch's worth of analytics to confirm that none of the existing exploits are still occurring before I'd be in favour of doing a wipe, even if it's badly needed. To the more casual citizen who only gets like 5 hours in a week to be able to play and isn't engaging in exploits, a wipe is bad, but it's even worse if we end up having to wipe 2 patches back to back. Those players are real and aren't well represented by the more hardcore playtesters who are posting here like us. Yeah, that makes sense to me. You want to make sure that there's no exploit that you need to wipe again for straight away afterwards, right? Because that is going to sort of damage people wanting to progress in the game. Another question. You are currently structuring everything around FUBC. However, isn't the core purpose of mining and salvage ultimately crafting? When crafting is introduced, won't the reduced yields become a problem for us? Highlander responds, crafting is one of the upcoming features I was referring to. We did this specifically for a better crafting flow as well, as it's built around these new refining yields. We still don't know if crafting is actually going to turn up in the tech preview build by the end of the year. That's what CIG have said though, so hopefully that will be in the next couple of weeks. That's before the end of the year, or early January maybe. Another question. This all sounds great, of course, but what about the function to merge split containers into larger, smaller sizes? That would literally solve all the above problems. This feature was talked about a year ago, but what you're talking about here seems to have changed the direction. Again, Highlander responds, once you've purchased the boxes, you are or will be free to be able to merge and split them, but don't expect it to be instant, free, and available at every location. The way you merge split boxes will end up balanced against the effort and work it would take to move around boxes of the normal expected bracket. Another question. So, if the larger haulers are intended for larger brackets and with that larger box sizes rather than the smaller brackets that just make them overly inefficient, do you have any plans by now for making those larger haulers actually reliably work with those larger brackets, let alone making them work well? The Caterpillar you used for your 32-24 bracket is a good example, seeing how it cannot hold a single 32 SCU box and only 1624 SCU boxes. So even ignoring the lack of 32s, a solid third of its actual cargo capacity is forced into smaller boxes, lower brackets by design, simply because, like many other ships, the cargo grid layouts are just plain abysmal. Something needs to be done to actually enable the various cargo ships and make them fit for purpose for their intended brackets if you actually want this to all work out in a somewhat balanced manner across more than just a small handful of ships. Highlander again responds here, yes, there's been a noticeable disconnect in the past for a few ships between the way it's been created with its grid and the actual gameplay functionality of some ships and what kinds of boxes they should be able to move and how much of them. We are moving in a way to try and make sure that the new gold standard for ships, especially freight ships, isn't supposed to let that happen anymore. The Caterpillar, being fairly old, is one that very clearly is supposed to be in that large group, technically below the Hull C class, etc. of freight ships. Its inability to move 32 SCU crates is a frustration for sure. Boom! That is your little economy update. Now, I do know some other little bits and bobs which I'll share with you, but I've talked about this before. We know that CIG have been working on the effort versus reward algorithm a lot more. They're working on Star Sim, they're working on player-to-player trading, they are working on a deeper dynamic economy, they are working on crafting, they are working on a variety of other stuff. I mean, like the new UI and stuff like that, the new inventory systems, that's all kind of related to the economy. But that is what I wanted to talk about today. I'm interested to know, what are you thinking of the economy in 4.5 and those changes that they made? Are you liking it? Are you liking the direction? Do you hate it? And if so, why? Tell me all the things about the economy. Are you a trader? It's like, yeah, this is great, I'm a hauler, awesome, now I can haul with my smaller ship and it makes more sense. Are you a pirate that actually goes, well, yeah, I can identify what kind of goods are in what kind of ship now much more easily, so I'll target these ships but not these ships? Are you desperately looking for CIG to wipe and then start again with a nice fresh economy, or do you think that's a terrible idea? Whatever your thoughts and questions